Well, he's a cutie pie. I might put him in Potomac. Okay, yes. Yeah, he can come right on to Potomac.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Richie Sky, and I'm back with another video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to my channel. Thank you for helping me grow it. I really appreciate all the love that you guys give. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please hit that subscribe button down below, hit the notification bell button, because honestly, you just don't know when we're gonna pop off with new videos, but we try to do so 5 days a week. Now, we gotta get into all the things that we got going on in the news today. We gotta talk about some Real Housewives of Atlanta news, some things going down between maybe Nene and Porsha. We gotta talk a little bit about this whole Apollo situation and all that. We also gotta get into some Real Housewives of Potomac news, and then we're gonna talk about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We got a lot to cover with that today, so sit down, buckle up, and let's get started. Before we actually do that, also make sure to follow me on Instagram and Twitter at DJ Richie Sky. Also, if you are looking for business collaborations or inquiries, click down below for that information as well. Let's get into it, shall we? So, as you guys know, this whole situation that has been going on with allegations against Dennis in the press has really been interesting to kind of watch unfold, because I feel like every day we're getting new bits of information. All the while, it seems as though Porsha is remaining unbothered and still not wearing her ring. So I don't really know what that means, but I like this Beyonce approach that she is taking to this whole situation. And I feel like, honestly, it's a smart play because it makes her storyline that much more interesting for season 12 of The Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now, Media Takeout is reporting, and I saw this post, but I was like, I don't know. This could be a reach, but Media Takeout is reporting that Nene Leakes is getting in on the action and making some passive-aggressive comments of her own. So, let's get into this story, shall we? So, Media Takeout is reporting that Real Housewives of Atlanta star Nene Leakes fired a brutal and devastating shot at fellow housewife Porsha Williams. Porsha is in the midst of some drama with her fiance Dennis McKinley. Rumors of a breakup began circulating 2 weeks ago when Porsha abruptly unfollowed Dennis on Instagram and removed her wedding ring. Shortly after Porsha removed her ring, uncorroborated reports surfaced online that Dennis was cheating on Porsha. Eventually, Dennis spoke out about the rumors and threatened legal action against the blogs posting them. So while Porsha is in the midst of a very rumor-filled week, Nene is firing shots, and it's not a subtle jab at her rival. We spoke with one of Nene's close friends who confirmed that Nene was taking shots at Porsha with the below Instagram post. She claims that Nene couldn't specifically name Porsha because of a cease and desist letter. Nene couldn't tag Porsha in the post even though she wanted to, because Porsha has a cease and desist on Nene, the source stated. But here's what Nene posted. When you catch him cheating, choke his best friend, because he knew the whole time. Nene and Porsha both sent each other legal cease and desist letters last month after the two ladies had a back and forth on Instagram. According to legal documents, neither housewife is allowed to mention the other on social media. Now, here's the thing. I'm gonna go ahead and get into it, and I'm gonna tell you what I think, because that's what we do here on this channel. We do commentary. First off, what she's saying is true. Anytime that, let's say you dating somebody and they end up cheating on you, chances are their closest friends knew. And I've been in that situation in the past too. So I already know. You know the person, that everybody around that person knows that person is a cheater, and they just sitting around you chuckling and kikiing behind your back because they know what the truth of the matter is, and you looking stupid in the face. Now, do I think that this post is about Porsha? I don't know. It could be. It could not be. It could be about anything. But the timing short is interesting. And I think, to me, I can't read into everything that Nene does, although we like to. But what I will say is that the timing was so convenient that it's around the same time that a lot of this is happening. Now, is this a devastating blow to Porsha? No, it's not. It's social commentary, and she has every right to do so. However, I will say that it's been interesting because Nene does have a pattern of posting things that are going on, about things that are going on in her life in a very interesting way on social media. So who's to say whether or not she's actually taking shots at Porsha or not? But I'm so interested to see how a lot of this plays out, because it's a really big deal that's going on right now with a lot of these allegations in the media, and particularly with Dennis actually making a very smart play and working with Michael Sterling, who is the husband of Eva Marcel. So you got all of those things going on. Not to mention, you got Eva also still talking about Nene leaks in the press, making comments about, you know, her not being the executive producer of Real Housewives and always talking about how it's her show. I'm gonna need for Eva next season to come back real big and bad and keep that same energy. And I feel like she just might. Now, back to the situation at hand. Do I think that this is something that Nene would say to Porsha's face? Absolutely, I feel like that, because Nene is usually about that life. Now let's move on to this Apollo news, shall we? All right, so obviously, like yesterday, we told you guys that Apollo had been released early from prison and he has transitioned into a halfway house. Now I had to look it up because, to be very honest with you, I don't really know prison terms and stuff like that, so I didn't know what a halfway house really was. So I looked it up, and it's basically a transition home for people who are either on drugs or who have been incarcerated to transition back into society. And I think that this is absolutely a brilliant thing. I mean, it is. But at the end of the day, I want to ask y'all some questions about this whole situation, because a lot of media outlets have been reporting that Apollo will be returning to the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Now that would be interesting. That would be real interesting. Now here's why. Because Apollo actually has a built-in friend with Todd and actually Kandi at this point, I'm sure. But will viewers be interested in seeing him come back? Y'all comment down below if y'all would be interested in seeing him and Sherry Ann on the show. And Sherry Ann, this is a ride or die chick, okay? She got with this man while he was in prison, or about to go to prison, right? No, because she actually made an appearance on Real Housewives of Atlanta. That's right. Okay, so would y'all like to see him and Sherry Ann on the Real Housewives of Atlanta? Now, this would be an interesting story. However, I don't think that Bravo would go for it because, well, I don't know. Luann been to prison. Tinsley's been in jail on Real Housewives of New York. Apollo had been to prison beforehand. So it's really nothing new. I mean, come on now. It's honestly an interesting situation, and I would love to see, you know, a story about, and this is what I feel like Housewives needs at this point, is new and interesting storylines from different perspectives. To see this man who now is having to transition back into real life with a new fiance or wife, and Sherry Ann, you know what I'm saying? I feel like this would be actually reality TV gold. And a lot of y'all were commenting that they need to get on Love After Lockup. And I said Marriage Boot Camp, but honestly, it would be even better to see them on Real Housewives of Atlanta, because I feel like this will cause a whole lot of interesting debate and controversy, but I also feel like it would be a fascinating watch. You know what I'm saying? I think that there is something to be said for allowing us to see what it's like for a person to actually transition back into society after prison, and how they manage their relationships outside, you know, with that having happened. Not only that, but also with the fact that he used to be married to a former housewife on the show. This to me is reality TV gold. Now, in this situation, I feel like Kandi, you need to go ahead and stay on the show should Phaedra Parks ever come back. I'm just saying. I'm just making a comment because you know it's been said that Kandi would not come back to this show if Phaedra Parks was back. So this is all the stuff that I want to see. So Bravo, if you are listening to me, I'm going to tell y'all what the people want, and that's what we want to see. We want to actually see that come to fruition on this show. Let's make it interesting. Let's really stir things up a bit. You know what I'm saying? Also, I don't know if y'all saw Real Housewives of Potomac this past week, but I did comment on it in an earlier video this week because, you know, I added my reviews on each of my shows in my videos. So if you didn't see it, go back and watch it. But what I basically talked about was the fact that Robin had found out that she had some white in her, 59% white to be precise, based on these reports from her genealogy test or whatever she took. Now, she had to eat a little bit of crow when she told Katie Ross that she was part white, because in season 1, Katie Ross had actually indicated that Robin might be biracial. I was about to say bisexual. Biracial because of her light skin and light eyes. So, interestingly enough, again, I love Katie because I did interview her, and she is a lovely person in person, just bubbly and fun. I just liked her energy, good energy. But basically, she made a good comment when she posted this on Instagram. She said, okay, I am just as pissed off as everyone else that I didn't get a chance to have confessionals on Real Housewives of Potomac and discuss Robin Dixon and her reveal as being mostly European. She shamed me and my children in season 1 for being mixed. It hurt me. It's a colorism issue left unresolved. Okay, let's address the elephant in the room, okay? Because I don't necessarily think that she shamed you, Katie. I don't think she shamed you per se, but I just think that she made mention that you know, the children were biracial, and what do they write down on paperwork when they're asked what is their race? Because that's a valid question for someone who doesn't know. Katie's response was basically like, oh, you biracial, what are you talking about? So here's the thing. One, all of these other housewives shows, the friends of the wives are getting confessionals. Look at Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Brandy and Kim Richards made one appearance on the show and they got full confessionals. Barbara Cavavit on Real Housewives of New York got a confessional as well. And so Marlo and Tanya got confessionals, barely. But I do feel like Real Housewives of Potomac lost a little bit of points for me when they did not give Katie her own confessional. I definitely feel like they should have done that, and I feel like she got cheated out of that. However, I'm gonna have to agree with a comment that someone made in Katie's comments, and it's by Also Chic 2081. It says, I love you, Katie, but I'm with Robin on this. Robin isn't biracial. Both of her parents are black, and all 4 of her grandparents are black. She's not the child of one white parent and one black parent. Regardless of her DNA, she's black culturally. It's a nuanced conversation. I kind of agree with that stance as well. So there you have it on that. And also in Struggle Braids news, listen, Media Takeout is basically reporting that LaToya Luckett's braids and her, I guess her edges went viral. Listen, to me, LaToya Luckett is beautiful. She's beyond amazing, gorgeous singer. But I cannot stand when I see some struggle braids on somebody who is so ultra fabulous in my opinion. Now, I don't blame LaToya, I blame her stylist. I blame the team around her. I blame the people that didn't tell her that this was probably not her best look. But I just want to ask y'all a question. Now, particularly for women who get braids, and not because I don't know this, but it seems like the braids be so tight sometimes they be yanking out the edges. Is that the case? Is that what happens when women lose their edges? Or is this a case like Media Takeout was reporting that because of the baby, she might have had some hair loss? Let me know if that's the case. Regardless, what I want to know is also too, whose braids are better? Karen's or LaToya's? Comment down below. Okay, so y'all, Radar Online is, and basically every other media outlet in the world is reporting that Lisa Vanderpump will not be returning to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills for next season. And I, for one, absolutely could not be happier at this point. You guys know that I love Lisa Vanderpump, but I do not like her on the show at this point in time. They have also indicated that she is allegedly not coming to the reunion, which is happening either today or tomorrow. I almost want to say it's happening today, but I'm not quite sure. I'm kind of, there was some conflicting information about the time and the date, but it is this week, one of these 2 days. She will not be appearing there. And this is how I feel about this situation. Without LVP at this reunion, what are these ladies going to talk about? Because most of the storyline this season has revolved around her, even when she has not been there. The only way to potentially save this reunion is if Camille, Brandy, and Kim Richards are there. These are 3 people who are actually not really cast members on this show, who are probably being paid the least to be on this show, and who have brought the most action on this show. Now, I am a fan of several of the ladies on the show. Lisa Rinna tends to bring it, and she's done her part this season. I love Kyle because I feel like she's dope in general, but I feel like it's so difficult for me to really back up anything. I just feel like without Lisa Vanderpump, we're not gonna have any show to watch for a reunion, and it should only be about 2 parts, because filling this up with 3 parts is gonna be like watching this 28 episode season, because I feel like it's lasting forever and there's absolutely nothing going on. Like, this episode could have been condensed with the last episode or the next episode. To be very honest with you guys, the best part of this episode was the fact that Brandy Glanville made her appearance on this show finally. But why was she looking like a hot mess? And why was I looking at the tracks in the back of her head the entire time she was on the screen? Brandy, I need you back full time next season, but I need you to get with a new stylist, because I don't know who did what to your hair. But all I know is I don't want to see the tracks of your tears. I don't want to see the tracks of your railroad. I don't want to see the tracks in your hair either. So I'm gonna need you to do something about that. And women, this is I always wanted this, because I feel like y'all have the opportunity to have like bomb hair and bomb, you know, wigs and weaves and stuff like that. Do you tell another woman that you can see her tracks? I want to know that. Women, let me know in the comments. Men, let me know in the comments if you would tell your girl or your best girlfriend that her tracks are showing. And why didn't nobody tell Brandy this before she sat down to film that scene? Because the cameraman is shady as okay? Because that was all we saw that entire time, them struggle tracks in the back of her head. And then why in the world, who dressed her for her confessional? I just wanted to, in my mind, I was like, girl, what is happening here? We were rooting for you. We were all rooting for your comeback. And then when you do, you look like this. She looked better in the scene than she did in her confessional, which is very not the way to go. So I'm gonna need you to work on that for next season. I have full and complete faith that you will be back with a better glam squad in the future, Brandy. That's all I have to say about that. Also, I want to shed a few tears for Kyle closing down her store. I actually went to that store in Beverly Hills. I was the editor-at-large for a magazine called Suave, and I did a shoot with her godson, Matt Sarafa, in that store. So I'm very, very familiar with that area, and it sucks, but I do feel like she's doing the right thing. She needs to take her brand online, because I feel like that is where most shopping is done these days, so it makes the most sense. There's no overhead in terms of rent. So I like that idea. Now I want to talk about something that really disturbed me. Probably the most disturbing part of this episode outside of these fires. And I'm so, you know, which if you've ever been in LA during fires and stuff like that, it's actually raining ash when that happens. The sky turns red and it rains ash, and it's the scariest thing you've ever seen. It looks like the apocalypse, and it's nothing to play with. But I want to talk about something scarier than that apocalypse, and that is the behavior of Lisa Rinna's kids. Now, on this channel, I do not like to touch on people's children. However, because I was so disgusted, I'm going to talk about the parents instead. Here's the thing. If I had ever stuck up my middle finger at my parents the way that this child stuck up her middle finger at Lisa Rinna and her husband, I wouldn't have a hand. I wouldn't have an arm. Actually, I wouldn't have a whole right side of my body, because it would have been yanked off the moment my middle finger went up in the air. I don't understand how they could treat their parents the way that they did on national television without some type of reprimanding. And the way she talked to her father was just, to me, downright disgusting and embarrassing. And I hate the fact that Lisa Rinna, in her confessional, was seemingly making excuses for whatever, if she has, I don't know if she was making reference to the eating disorder or not. What I am saying is, I feel like there has to be some form of discipline and respect with regards to the way that you treat your parents. And unfortunately, that starts with the parents. As Iyanla Vanzant says, the fish stinks from the head down. And right now, the head is funky, okay? So I'm gonna need y'all to work on that with the discipline of those girls. The modeling may have gone to their heads just a little bit, but I need them to rein it on in real quick. Now, the other thing that I have to say about this is, it's taken them a long time to go on this trip. And I don't know why we needed to see a whole episode of them actually just talking about going on the trip versus packing and just hitting the skies for it, because to me, this was almost a waste of an episode outside of the fact that I got to see Brandy Glanville, because like I said, this season is going on way too long. I know we're on episode 28 right now. We have to be on episode 28, and it makes no sense to me while we're on episode 28 of this show, but Real Housewives of New York is getting cheated out of several episodes. Makes no sense to me. All I have to say is I'm looking forward to next week when finally I feel like we're gonna get some action, but y'all let me know what y'all think about this. And I know I said a lot about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but it all had to be said, okay? So let me know what you guys think about this whole Nene and Porsha situation. Do you think that Nene was talking about Porsha, or do you think that she was being, just putting something out in the atmosphere in a joking way? And also, what y'all think about this whole Apollo situation and Sherry Ann? And are y'all standing by this man for all of this long while he in prison? Comment down below if you got a prison bae out there. Let me know. Let me know what y'all think about that situation. Also, let me know if y'all agree with this whole situation with Katie Ross on Real Housewives of Potomac, and let me know your thoughts on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. What do y'all think? Comment down below. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell button, follow me on Instagram and Twitter at DJ Richie Scott. And if you guys have brand collaborations or you want to contact me personally, hit me up at richiescott@gmail.com, and I will see you guys in the next video.